Hello, my name is Lucas. This is Bit of Lit. This is Valentina, salsa picante Mexican hot sauce, and things are about to get spicy because someone was wrong on the internet, and that was Brian at Bookish, slightly wrong. He talked about objectivity versus subjectivity. Just kidding, he wasn't really wrong. I just have some minor disagreements about what he said about these paintings, really. Subjectivity versus objectivity in criticism. And I agree that there's objectivity in criticism. For me, the markers are not, skill or craft or in writing, prose or character or plotting. These things are too subjective for me to consider an objective marker, even though, there is some gatekeeping and things that are held up as good, like the Western literary canon, for example. As things change, as he says, over time, as people read more diversely, for example, these standards change. Also, across cultures, they will be different. However, for me, objectively, something is bad if it is lying and deceitful or, regressive and hateful or cynical. Not cynical, I'm quite cynical myself, but manipulative or insulting to the reader. Cynical in that sense. Not maybe cynical about the world, because I often feel cynical, even though I feel like I'm an optimist. I'm not. Anyway, he argues that this is objectively better than this. This painting by Holiday Hoobiewuddy, I don't know, versus this painting by his daughter. Objectively. Subjectively, he enjoys this one more because it's his daughter's and it's quite cute and, these kind of things. And he has it up on his fridge after all these years, even though his daughter is out of the house. And I also like this one more. For me, when I look at this one, it feels very scientific and like I would rather just actually see the bird in person. Or, see a picture of it to see what it really looks like. Even though this is a very excellent portrayal of the subject in its natural habitat, I suppose. I'm just like crushing this bird because I can't stand looking at it. He does talk about gatekeeping and, enjoyability versus these kinds of ideals. I'm just here to disagree with the idea that this is objectively better, because I don't think he clearly defines better. He gives a lot of reasons for why he thinks this is better. He says things like it takes more skill, takes more effort. The subject, you can clearly tell exactly what it is, and these kind of things. And all these things are true. It took a lot more skill, effort, time, craft, and knowledge, and whatever else to make it look like this, compared to what his daughter did. But I don't feel like that proves that it is better, personally. Again, that could just be because my markers for what makes an objectively good or bad or fine painting or work of art are a little bit different. And I suppose that has to do with my subjective feelings. So objectivity gets a little complicated in that way. For example, when I mean like Birth of a Nation, really great cinematography, horribly offensive and racist and dismissive and ignorant and manipulative and lies to your face about black people in America and white people in America as well. And, it's regressive and just horrible in all these ways, which makes it objectively bad. Even if the cinematography is great, that would be something akin to great plotting or characters or prose in a novel. I guess we're talking about paintings here. The use of color is certainly more realistic here than it is here. However, that, again, doesn't really make it better. It's a better portrayal of what a penguin really looks like. Okay, we can be a little more specific. I'm being really nitpicky because I do this kind of thing to my students all the time about their language choice. They will often write essays that say X is better than Y. And they'll give reasons like Brian did, but I'm always like, you need to be very clear about what you mean by better or worse or, whatever. So in this case, he gives a lot of good reasons for why this one takes more skill, I think, but doesn't exactly show that this one is better. And, he does talk about gatekeeping, and I would say that this is its own gatekeeping. I feel like, I'm sure he would agree. He's not saying that. I'm sure that he would agree that art is for everyone. Okay. And holding some kind of standard, which is what literary critics do, or art critics or whatever, some kind of standard that is based on realistic portrayal or use of color or whatever, something like that. Oh, yeah, this looks just like it should. Or, oh, yeah, the characters are really in-depth and I can relate to them and blah, 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 blah. Oh, the plot is really exciting. I don't think there's no way to do that objectively, in my opinion, because, my tastes are just too different from Brian's or from Steve, who he's agreeing with here, whoever. For me, like, these clouds are crazy. I didn't even know this was a penguin at first, to be honest. So this is a more realistic portrayal of a penguin than this, because I can tell what this is easily. Doesn't make it better. My emotional response to this is much stronger. I can tell that it's a bird, okay? It's not some totally abstract thing. I really like these colors. I'm curious about where does its neck end? Where does its body end? Where are its feet? Why are its eyes red? When I look at this, it sort of feels like this is what it's like to look at a bird for the first time. For me, I'm not saying this is what he's implying, but just saying, oh, well, it's got this and this and this and these markers that are ticked off using some kind of rubric, as he does mention a little bit later in this video. And I'm sort of mixing some ideas here, using some kind of rubric to check off, like, oh yes, objectively this is good. Do I subjectively enjoy this? Maybe, maybe not. I think is offensive in a way. And it's sort of implying, oh, well, you don't have this. I'm going to close the gates on you. Not that he would say that to his daughter, I'm sure, in this example. But, yeah, I don't know. Art is for everyone is my main point. And I'm sure he would agree. And I think trying to hold these kind of markers as opposed to my markers, which are the right ones, obviously, is a little wrong-headed, personally. Now, for example, I really can't stand reading Stephen King. I think he's not a very good writer. I give him a lot of tries, way too many last year. He does have some really good ideas, sometimes, very few. Like, I like Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption. I also like The Story of the Jaunt. I don't like the prose. I don't really care about the characters. The plotting, well, in those two is fine. There is some elements that I really like. But he's got, okay, in those two stories, he's got 1 out of 3. Maybe if these are just the 3 markers I have for objectivity. I don't know what I'm trying to say anymore. I've tried to make this video a few times now, and I'm confused. Anyway, my point being, even though I don't like him, so many people enjoy him for subjective reasons. They find meaning in the characters. They really like the plots. They enjoy some of the dialogue or whatever, even though ugh. I feel like it's just these kind of things, color or whatever, writing, style, prose, cinematography, etc. They are too subjective based on time, culture, taste, whatever, to say they are objective markers for what makes something better than another. That's what I'm trying to say, I guess. I've been saying the same thing for however long now. Anyway, I think this one's better, subjectively. They are both objectively good pictures of penguins, okay? This one, a lot more scientific and kind of boring to me. This one, very creative. And I want to talk to this penguin. Yeah. Anyway, art is for everyone, as we all well know. And, yeah, I guess objectivity does exist should exist. Who cares? It's just reading. It's just art. It's not some great thing. It's just art. And art is for everyone. Okay? Goodbye.